Welcome back to another Union Talk Recap episode. With school back in session, the AFT wants to ensure every student and teacher has an environment best suited for both teaching and learning. To ensure that students thrive, we have launched the Real Solutions for Kids and Communities campaign, which focuses on learning loss, literacy, and loneliness. And in the coming weeks, Union Talk will focus on the Real Solutions campaign, featuring a mix of new and recap episodes covering its core concepts. One of the campaign's key solutions is experiential learning. Experiential learning, exemplified by career and technical education, immerses students in profound learning experiences, furnishing them with practical, real-world skills and enhancing their academic performance while simultaneously preparing them for a diverse range of sought-after positions in areas such as healthcare, information technology, and skilled manufacturing, among others. In this episode, we highlight a conversation from an episode published June 23, 2023, when AFT President Randi Weingarten spoke with Brent Parton from the U.S. Department of Labor and Billie Helean from the Rancho School Employees Union. If you like what you hear in this episode, you can hear the entire conversation by going to aft.org/uniontalk and search for Engaging Students Through Career and Technical Education episode. If you want to learn more about the Real Solutions for Kids and Communities campaign, go to aft.org/real-solutions. Now, on to the episode.
We have to kind of debunk two things that I'd like both of your views on. Now, one was, as Billie just said, there's a lot of stigma. And, this is the old voc ed. And although, there's a lot of good jobs that came out of the old voc ed, but there's this stigma about career tech ed or voc ed or, so how do we debunk this? I mean, part of what I'm trying to do in terms of the national union is we're talking about experiential and hands-on learning. And what we're seeing in terms of the data is that you get exactly what Billie just said. But I would love, both of your thoughts on this.
I can say, and Billie, I really want to hear how this is playing out at the, in Rio Rancho, but you debunk it by doing it the right way and making it real. Mm-hmm. And what Billie's talking about, what they're doing in Rio Rancho and where we see examples across the country, I think we have to go back to where that stigma came from. Let's be honest, that stigma is justified. There was a painful, racially driven history of tracking in the country years ago that we're still living in the shadows of, and I think we have to acknowledge that as we design these new pathways and scale them. But here's the reality of it today. The idea that it's CTE or college is not true. CTE and career pathways are a post-secondary option, not alternative. And if they're designed that way with in-demand credentials, articulated courses and credits at the post-secondary level with dual enrollment models, registered apprenticeship connections with a national journeyman certificate, it is another option for pursuing and building post-secondary education. And if we design it intentionally that way, the idea that we are tracking students away from higher ed, that goes away by the reality of what the situation is. These are in-demand post-secondary credentials aligned to good jobs and careers. But the other part of the coin, I will say, is exactly what you were saying, Randi, on the experiential learning side. I think we've done a lot of good work in this country recognizing the equity gaps in post-secondary attainment. I think we need to put equal energy into the equity gaps in terms of social capital. Yeah. And a first work experience, who you know, who you grew up with, the community you're in should not dictate your opportunities. And if we provide work-based learning, youth apprenticeships, experience in the labor market to connect with professional mentors and build that community of support, we have to focus on that social capital equity gap, because we all know that whether you go to college or not, what job you get today too often still depends on who you know, or what we say is the FBI, friends, brothers, and in-laws. And I think that's the fundamental issue, that CTE is the magic secret sauce for how we address that equity gap in our country that's been hidden for far too long.
Yeah.
So true, Brent.
Yeah.
Couldn't have said it better. Billie, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, the proof is in the pudding. When you look at the potential that students are able to fulfill. While you were talking, Brent, what came to mind for me was my future son-in-law. My daughter's getting married in September, and he's a mechanic, an auto mechanic. Thank you. Yeah, it's exciting. He's a great, great guy, and he's a super intelligent, super capable person. We didn't have this program. He actually graduated from Cleveland High School right here in Rio Rancho, and we didn't have these programs when he graduated. And when I talk about it, he gets really excited because he hears about the things that kids can do now. And he's like, man, if they'd had that, I wouldn't have had to do all these other things post-graduation to get the work that I'm doing now. And he makes more money than I do. I'm a teacher as well. So he makes more money than I do. And he's doing a great job and he loves it. But all of his training came after high school. And had he had this opportunity, he would have hit the ground running. He would have gotten his diploma the very next day. He would have gone to work at Volvo where he works now. And he'd be doing this great work a lot sooner. And, he loves it so much. It's exciting to see. And granted, he's just one example, but, you see it every day. When you come to Rio Rancho and you go to these programs and you see what these kids are doing, you can see their level of engagement and you can see their level of passion for the topics that they're learning about. And it's really something. Every teacher dreams of having kids have that fire for the learning that they're doing in their classroom. And so it's just really exciting to watch these kids do that. And we know that they're graduating with these certificates and going out and pursuing these careers. It's very, very targeted, very specific. The nice thing is that it's expanding so much that we're in Rio Rancho able to offer programs for just about anything a kid wants to pursue. It's pretty exciting, pretty fun to watch.
And I will just say one thing, because Billie, that's a really important point about also this question, Randi, is there's this view, and this is the Labor Department hat, this view that CTE is about training for a job or one employer versus a career. That's also what we're up against, but that's also intentional design. And the reality is that you're engaging students in their learning. They're building skills that are recognized across an industry, not by one employer, but they're industry driven. And you're creating possibilities to build those pathways over time. So we have to really be clear. This is not just training for a job today. It really is a foundational experience for a career path.
Thanks for listening to this Union Talk recap episode. To listen to the full episode, head to aft.org/Union Talk.